Hello and welcome to a SearchCloudComputing.com presentation, Into the Cloud, how search unlocks log metadata to visualize your business process. This presentation is being brought to you by Lucid Imagination and Boomi. For more information on Lucid Imagination and Boomi, you can click on their logos in the lower portion of your screen. My name is Tim Wynn. I'm the moderator for today's presentation. Joining me today is Rick Nucci, co-founder and CTO at Boomi, and Grant Ingersoll, co-founder of Lucid Imagination. Before we begin the presentation today, I'd like to review a few housekeeping items with you. The slides for this presentation will be pushed to your screen automatically. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, you can type them in the Ask a Question area located on the right side of your viewing console, and they will be addressed at the end of the presentation. If you have any difficulty reading or viewing the slides, there is an enlarged slide button that you can click on, which is located just below the slides. And if you experience any technical difficulties with this presentation, there is a help link that you can click on the lower right-hand corner of your screen. With that said, I'm now going to turn things over to Grant to begin the presentation.
Thank you, Tim, and welcome everybody to today's webinar on how to unlock log metadata to visualize your business processes. We're going to start today by going over some characteristics of logs and how the Lucene ecosystem can be used to help you leverage those logs for better capabilities within your business. And then we're going to turn it over to Boomi, who's going to present a case study on how they use Solar and Lucene to access their logs to power their interfaces in their applications. As Tim said, my name is Grant Ingersoll. I'm a co-founder of Lucid Imagination as well as a Lucene and Solar committer. And with me is Rick Nucci, who's the co-founder and CTO of Boomi and an expert on cloud integration and all of these areas that we're going to be talking about today. So with that, I'm going to focus in on my side of it, and then later on Tim will have more details on what he's going to talk about. So I'm going to start off with a Lucene primer for those in the audience who might not be familiar with Lucene. It's going to be brief, so I'll also give some references to other places that people can go and find out more about Lucene. And we're going to look at some different use cases for logs, both within search, as many people in the Lucene world are used to seeing, and then also external to search, how logs can then be used to power other types of applications. We'll look at a little bit about what the domain is and why that might present some specific challenges for search, and then we'll also look at some of the benefits of using Lucene in a log application as well. So just as a brief overview, when you hear me talk about Lucene, I'm really talking about the Lucene ecosystem here, as well as what most people know as Lucene, the search engine. So in general, I kind of lump in together Lucene and Solar and Nutch as search technologies that are all built on top of the core Lucene Java library. The Lucene ecosystem also has a number of other things that go along with it, like perhaps Apache Mahout, which is about machine learning, Apache Tika, which is useful for extracting content from things like PDFs and Office, and as well as a number of other ports of Lucene. For instance, there's a port to Python, there's a port to C, there's a port to .NET. So that all kind of characterizes the Lucene ecosystem. If you want to learn more, there's the URL for Lucene, lucene.apache.org. And then at the same time, if we want to take a 10,000-foot view of logs, when you think about logs, they are everywhere, and yet they are something that often is just laying on the floor. It's something that we don't always tap into to realize what people are doing into our systems. It often contains very valuable data about who logged in, when they logged in, what they were doing, how often they were doing it, how long it took to do those kind of things. These are all things that can be very critical for not only success within your IT department, but also across your enterprise. And we'll talk a little bit more about those with some use cases. But first, let's take a little bit of a step back and just lay down some basic framework for Lucene and Solar. There's probably three primary things to think about when it comes to Lucene and Solar, and I'm only going to have one slide on these. So as I said, you can go to that lucene.apache.org to find out a whole lot more. But basically, when it comes to Lucene, you're going to model whatever it is that is your content, in this case logs. You're going to model them as documents. And a document is basically made up of one or more fields. And a field then is